Let's check in with the listeners.
Hey, listeners.
Hey, listeners.
Oh, listeners, remember you can always reach us at the email address gamescoop@ign.com, just like
Oh no!
Slick,
The
David.
build up, the wind up, and
Big Tony style.
I see. All right.
Big Tony style writes in to say, I'm excited to jump into Gears Reloaded. The original was the very first game I played on a flat screen HD TV at my friend's house during college. At the time, my mind was blown at the leap in graphical fidelity and what HD gaming could be. It's probably the last time I was surprised at how good a game can look and feel. It was a feeling I usually got with the release of every new console generation, dating back to my first console, the Sega Master System. While games seemingly do just about everything I could ever want, when was the last time the Goose Camp counselors were truly surprised at something a game could do or show you?
Great question.
That's a really good one. Like my mind immediately goes to like the pivotal moments in my gaming career as a player as well as a journalist was always like, Mario 64, where you finally got to explore in 3D. I was like, oh my God, what if games are actually like that but look realistic? And here we are. I will say there were a couple of moments. Like one was VR. The first time trying out a VR demo, I think it was like Valkyrie, and then there was that game from Team Soho. Remember that one where you're sitting in a chair and this dude walks around you, and like for the first time you feel this actual presence of a digital character in front of you, and he's smoking, and your mind almost fills in the gaps, right? Like where you go like, do I smell smoke? No, I don't smell smoke. Those were really cool moments. More recently, I will say The Last of Us 2, because that game animates things where other games cut to black. A lot of games, like you sit down at a campfire, then they go to black, and then, like it's the next morning or something. This game will animate everything. I think the thing they picked apart was always a kiss sequence where the two character models connect and looks realistic. Nothing's flickering and stuff. But like, I just had, this game just sort of blew my mind with the quality of the animation and the lengths they went to make all the things work.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember like the upgrading your weapons always looked really good.
Yeah, it's just everything. Like, it seems like most game developers will just not have the time to do this, right? Like they really got to spend time with this game, but it's obviously tremendously talented animators, and it's just like nothing clips, it's so good.
Yeah, that's what's the saying of like, what gamers are impressed by is like, the vista and the mountain and the forest, and what game developers are impressed by are like, I can't believe that they just took that weapon and like put it on their back and like attached it to themselves, and it's not clipping through their hair.
Famously, the electrical lines in Last of Us 2 were like that.
Yeah.
Or even just like
developers were like, how did they do this? They can carry around an electrical line, it stretches and bends around everything, and then you plug it in. Like people could believe that.
The snow being knocked off the top of that bus. Like this game still looks really, really good.
And then I'd say Tears of the Kingdom is, I think for everyone, there might be a different moment where you go, that's possible. Like I glued like lots of tree stumps together and made this really long pole to cross a gap. And I'm like, for a moment, it took me out of the game because I'm like, programming that seems impossible. Like, wouldn't you at one point as a programmer say, only 4 of those, please? And I have like 20 or something, right? Like the things you can do that seem impossible in that game.
That's what I saw. I mean, I saw people making giant like orbital launch vessels that are like lasering down like Lionels, and like meanwhile I'm over here like gluing a sword to my sword, and that's the best thing I can manage.
Kojima's always good at that sort of stuff too, where you try something and you go like, no way did they think of it, and they're like, oh my God, they thought of it.
Yeah, the melting ice cubes in Metal Gear 2.
Melting ice was mind-blowing.
So you're saying Kojima's really good
old
at that
ones. Yeah, so what you're saying is a few old ones and one new one. And one of my new ones is actually Vista Mountain related, like Justin's saying, because I think the weather systems in Assassin's Creed from this year were unbelievable. And there were times where, I was there while the clouds rolled in on mountains below me, like on top of a mountain, and the sun is setting and everything's, ray tracing and looking incredible. And it's just never been a game that looks like that. I'm hoping there's more, because I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, it's so cool when it's a game system that is so flexible that it can create like a moment of art or beauty, versus somebody like staged something and everything is in the right place because the developer placed it there. Like the games that truly impress other ones where you think you're having a unique moment and then you glimpse something, right? Like you see something that you didn't think was possible.
Yeah. So then my older ones, I have two GameCube. I think that was the graphical realism generation. That was a big leap then. And one was and I know Perry, you'll remember this well, but one was seeing your face reflected in Metroid Prime.
Oh, totally awesome.
That was cool.
And I've said this so many times. I know this is boring to hear it again, but Metroid Prime was the last time that Nintendo made like a cutting edge graphical game that everybody's like, does this look better than Half-Life 2, which came out the same year? You know, like it was like a discussion. Like, what's the best looking game on the planet? And Nintendo made it. So that was cool. And then right after that, I remember Resident Evil 4 being this kind of moment where it just felt so next gen and everything. But I just remember this dumb moment where I was looking at I had some friends over and we were looking at the candle in it. And it was just like the candle flame looked like unbelievably well thought out and realistic and casting light. And we're like, what is happening here? Like who spent this time?
I'm glad you brought up Resident Evil, because despite the older games being sort of like feeling very mechanical and limited, there were moments in that series with Remake where an enemy could walk through a door. And at a time, we had only played games where enemies existed in one room, and when you exit, you're safe. And in this game broke that wall.
And they don't walk through, the door like swings open, and they're like swish, swish.
And then Resident Evil 4, they actually come after you, and thank you for the footage, Gilbert.
It's Tayo.
Oh, Tayo, sorry. Where they actually follow you up through a window out on the roof. And I'm like, you're not allowed to do that. That's illegal.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Justin, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that this is the last time, but in terms of like interacting with a game, like the thing that I'm experiencing in the video game felt really new and different and unique was
Factorial.
was Game Pass on the 3DS.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not Game Pass. No. Street Pass.
Street Pass.
Street Pass. Like, you know, I would get Street Passes on the bus on my way into IGN, and then you would get them and they would give you puzzle pieces or give you things in the different Street Pass games. And like, that just felt very cool and social and unique and kind of special. And I don't know, like Game Pass was just super neat. I bought all the Game Pass games and they kept coming out with more. And like the way that they were designed of like each Street Pass game would give you like a different bonus or a different thing for like Street Passing people around the world. And like, that was really addictive and cool.
The human element of that is so fascinating, because you'd walk around and you get like,
and then you'd meet them, you'd see their Mies.
Luis from Brazil. You're like, what? Yeah. There was a Brazilian here?
Well, and like there was this, I mean, it's a little bit kind of creepy slightly, except I'm an adult, so like it was fine. But like, you know, you would see their Mies and like they'd be like, oh, hello, like, you know, nice to visit you. And then I'm thinking back to the people that I saw on this, like on the street. I'm like, who did I pass that like we street passed each other?
Yeah.
That was really cool. No one's going to remember this but me. There is a game on the original DS. I don't know if you're going to remember it too, called Treasure World, I think. And it was so far ahead of its time where you could, I don't know how it was doing that, because that game didn't have GPS in it, but you could take your DS, your original DS, out into the real world. And I think what it was doing was picking up Wi-Fi signals.
Oh, wow.
And based off the number of Wi-Fi signals that it picked up, it would try to do like, it would know where you went and where you visited. So it was doing like a pseudo Street Pass and pseudo 3DS, you know, system way, way ahead of its time. And you would go out into the real world and it would pick up Wi-Fi signals out in the real world. And then you would earn little treasures and items. And so that game always captured my imagination. It wasn't very good, but it was such an interesting idea.
Yeah. Very cool. I don't remember that at all.
Yeah. Nobody does but me.
Scribblenauts blew people's minds on the DS. Remember that?
It really did. Yeah. We couldn't believe it. It just knew every word. How does it know every word?
So many. I just remember things like Manticore and Cyclops, and some people would just come up with fantasy things and it would just pop one in.
Yep.
That was really cool. I was hired at IGN in 2006 in April. And so one of the first things I did was go to E3. And I always think about two games that I saw behind closed door demos for at E3 2006. It was BioShock and Mass Effect. And I just remember sitting in there and like seeing the water running down the walls, and BioShock looking absolutely realistic.
Oh, so cool.
Not affecting the gameplay, but just really, you know, sort of setting the mood. And then in Mass Effect, having these close-ups of these alien faces and their eyes moving realistically, and just, you know, like you can see like pores and sweat on their skin. I was just like, part of it was like, I'm new to IGN. Like, I can't believe it. I have my dream job. I'm sitting in behind closed doors demos at E3, seeing these amazing looking games. How is this my life?
Yeah.
I know, but those games also, they were clearly not aping Hollywood movies, right? They impressed you by showing you something very, very different. Like, I mean, the world of BioShock, it is.
There was a lot of lens flare in Mass Effect, to be fair.
We also, I mean, Mass Effect back then, that early, like this giant 80-hour RPG, and all of it's voiced, and the voice acting's all like pretty good. Even that was like a pretty big deal. Like voice acting was usually reserved for like smaller games where like there's going to be 10 cutscenes in the game, and that's all the voice.
And Mass Effect invented a sound effect that was then used in every Hollywood trailer for years, namely, which is like
I thought that was Inception.
That was the Reapers, right?
No, I think it was first Mass Effect. Wow. It was the Reapers, and then it happened in Inception. Every trailer since.
Yeah, it's true.
How fun.
There's in BioShock, there was also kind of a promise of you can approach this situation these different ways in that demo.
Yeah.
Where it was like, well, the little sister's just kind of there, and then the big daddy's like protecting her, and you know, you can either avoid it or you can, and then they're just like, and you go right in. The guy's like hand gets chopped off or something, and it's like. The game didn't really feel that way in the end, but that demo was incredible.
The sandboxy opportunity for player expression of like set traps for the big daddy or going guns blazing and stuff like that was a big deal back then.
And before
they
that,
should make BioShock games still, or Mass Effect games.
Well, there'll be a TV show.
Nobody makes video games anymore.
Which one's getting
Western
a TV
devs?
show?
BioShock.
Oh no!
No, I think it'll be good. I think it's a good team.